Hello and welcome to another Fantasy Threesome FPL podcast. I'm Phil and it is sometime between Christmas and New Year. How are you, Mike?
I'm very well, thank you. Too late, I think, in the day to be wishing you a happy Christmas.
Correct.
But premature for the Happy New Year's. So I'll just say good evening.
Evening seems fine. That is accurate. It's currently the Newcastle-Liverpool game as we're recording. 22 minutes in and Newcastle will look up for it.
Such as my commitment to the pod, I've got Swansea against Reading on.
That's what we like to see. Championship through and through. We have also got Anthony here. Anthony, how are you?
Yes, very well, mate. Not too bad. Like you, equally confused about what day of the week it is. I mean, does it really matter?
Nothing matters anymore. It's been this way since March. I've no idea what's going on.
This is true. Yeah, no idea, boys. Not a clue.
Now, tonight, lads, we're streaming on YouTube as well as recording the podcast. A little bit of experimentation. If you can't experiment during lockdown, when can you? That was the excuse for the hair as well.
Silver Fox.
Thank you. Looking very Silver Fox. Did you get a new Christmas present there for Anthony? Are you wearing a new hoodie?
Oh, yes. Very nice of you to notice, Michael. Thank you. I am indeed wearing a new hoodie.
Lovely. Very nice.
Not quite as cool as your new silver hair, but there you go.
Thank you. What was the best Christmas present you got this year?
Well, I actually got the new Bournemouth. Well, I say new Bournemouth kit. I got the Bournemouth home kit, which, in my opinion, is our nicest home kit for a few years. Got some new trainers, which was very nice. Standard pants and socks and smellies and all that stuff. What about you, boys?
Phil?
Oh, I had an excellent gift. I had a Bob Ross bobblehead that plays 10 audio clips of Bob Ross talking. Bob Ross, if you don't know, is a painter from the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
He had a huge hair. He used to do this program where he painted for half an hour, and you'd never think that would be a program you'd want to watch. But I mean, a lot of the time you'd think, well, this isn't going to turn out very well, but it turns out incredible. But also, he has just the gentlest voice in the world, mega afro, and he used to say, "There's no mistakes, there's no errors, only happy mistakes," or something like that.
Well, we need to cling to that, do we not?
Absolutely. So I've got a little bobblehead of him from my wife that I'm going to have at work and can just press sounds whenever I need to relax. Okay. It also comes with a little flip chart of 30 of his favorite paintings.
Lovely.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Michael,
what did you get, Mike? Yeah, what did you get?
I got a Bruno Fernandes assist, lads. That's what I got.
Oh, just the one.
Yeah, that was about it, to be fair. No, I got some stuff to clean my car with.
There's a hint in there somewhere.
Yeah, it was a fairly uninspiring Christmas present haul from my perspective, but that's okay. The presence of my family was my presence.
Lovely, creepy almost.
Yeah, a little bit, but no, that's nice. I think you're just showing your age, Michael.
Yeah, yeah, in so many ways,
especially with that hair.
Absolutely.
For audio listeners, then it won't work so well. But he's gone bleached blonde, but then shiny silver over the top. Yeah, he looks like Jack Frost from the Santa Claus films.
Not from A Touch of Frost with
David Jason. No, not that. Well, I must say, gentlemen, what a treat it is to be here with you both, rather than last week's podcast or last few days ago podcast, where I had a conversation with myself and with recorded audio of both Mike and Ant and Patrick Bamford.
But what a great job you did, mate. What a brilliant job you did with that pod.
Well, that's not what the listeners are saying, and that's not what I'm saying. But it was I sounded like someone who'd just lost his tiny mind. But I'm glad to have you back here to maintain a level of sense and calmness to proceedings. Now, this game week has been a bit of a horror show. We've had. We don't want to go over COVID too much because people are already depressed about it. So let's, not bang on about it for too long. But obviously, we've had cancellations this week. We've had the City-Everton game called off. And then tonight, we've had the Fulham-Spurs game called off. I saw a Instagram post from Mourinho less than 4 hours before kickoff saying, we've still no idea what's happening tonight, which is staggering. Man City decided to call their game off because they wanted to. And today it appears the Premier League called off the Spurs Fulham game. Has that affected your teams in any way? Anthony, you've got your hand up.
2 words for you here, boys. Bench boost. I mean, as our regular listeners will know, all 2 of them, quite recently I've had a number of weeks where I could and should have played my bench boost and had 12, 15, 16 points out there. Didn't play it. Looked at the fixtures this week, obviously pre-COVID, or games being cancelled because of COVID, and thinking, right, this has got to be the week. They've all got winnable fixtures. I don't know who to put in and out. Let's just play the bench boost. Played it, and I'm currently going to have 3 points off it. So happy days. So, although amazingly, I've actually still got 45 points, which has seen me go back ahead of you, Phil, which is always satisfying. And also up 100,000 odd places. But yeah, I had Fernandes as captain because I actually, for the first time in 4 weeks, got to pick my captain.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. My 2 highest scores were Dallas, who got 12 points.
He's done you well, hasn't he, Dallas?
Well, he's the one who's been the reason I've had such a high scoring bench, because he's in an absolute goal getting glut at the moment. Yeah, 12 points for him. Bamford got 8. Finally brought him in. I bit the Bamford bullet, as I said on my message the other day, and I'm glad I did. Finally joined that. Yeah, copied you. And Fernandes, who got 12 points, 6 as captain. So yeah, still actually it says it all, doesn't it? Really, that 45 points is, well, depending on how Liverpool get on tonight, is actually a really good score for this week. The average is 25, so I'm actually still quite chuffed, despite effectively putting a chip down the toilet. But anyway, how did you boys get on?
Well, I've seen a team on Twitter. There's someone on Twitter called Fantasy Disasters who people send in screenshots of bad game weeks. I've seen a thing on Twitter from someone who screenshotted. Oh, it's just me. Oh no, you're highlighting me. Hi.
This is lovely stuff. This modern technology.
This is absolutely wasted on those listening on their podcast platforms.
Indeed.
But there's some beautiful stuff going on in terms of camera angles.
Mike has gone very clicky happy here.
Yeah. Sorry, do carry on, Phil.
Yeah, so there's someone on Twitter who's got 3 points this week. They had
3
points.
3 points. 1, 2, 3. Amazing.
All right, let's not mock my speech impediment again.
Mocking it, honest.
They had 3 Man City players, 2 Everton players, 3 Spurs players, and then I think they had Charlie Taylor, who got hauled off injured after 8 minutes, and something else. So yeah, it could be worse. Anthony, how's your game week been, Mike?
Well, it's been a shocker. Well, I say a shocker. I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? But my captain was Kane. But don't worry, because my vice captain was Son. Yeah, frustrating from that perspective. 31 points was what I've got. If we can have a quick look.
I can't believe that.
Points. Yeah, so Meslier got me a clean sheet, 2 points to Justin, a point for Taylor. Walker Peters has got me 5. Bednarik will come off the bench, and he's got me some nice points, so I can't complain too much at that. But yeah, big hole where Son and Kane were, and Calvert-Lewin as well missed out. So yeah, I'm without 3 players this week, and at the moment I stand to finish on 31 points.
Ouch. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said, isn't there, for especially moving forward now, if football carries on, which depends who you listen to. You know, people say that a 2-week break won't really do any good because players will still need to train in that time, so they'll still be going in. So 2-week break seems unlikely. So unless they shut everything down for a month, vaccinate as many people as possible, then you know, I would suggest if you're captaining people, do not have a vice captain in the same fixture in case it gets called off.
Amen.
I mean, obviously that's no use to you now, Mike, with Kane and Son. Sorry to hear that.
I'm happy for people to learn from my mistakes.
Well, they have been doing that all season.
Yeah, true story.
All season. Seeing as you asked, I'll let you know how I got on.
Oh yes, me too.
Phil, how'd you get on?
Well, thanks, Ant. So this was the first time. So we did our fantasy threesome punt that Lewis won the week before. Well, the fixtures before last, he won, and so he got to choose my captain. He opted to choose my captain rather than Mike or Ant's captain. So fair enough. And it's the first time this season where someone has genuinely tried to shaft someone. We've had Walcott. I picked Walcott for you, Anthony, didn't I? But that wasn't shafting.
No.
Oh, no, I got properly shafted by Lewis, who, let's remember, is a vicar and should be being more generous. He decided to pick Kyle Walker-Peters as my captain, who got booked but did get a clean sheet. So he ended up with 5 points, doubled to 10. I wasn't very happy with Lewis for doing that. But as it turns out, he was apart from Bamford, it's my third highest scoring player. I had fourth, actually. McCarthy got 9. Wow, just scrolling up. My team's getting better as it goes along. So I had McCarthy got 9, Walker-Peters 10. Fernandez got 6, and of course, old Paddy B got 8. 1 assist and 1 dubious assist, but I'll take a dubious assist. He is essential to. I don't know how people don't have him in their teams. He's had more shots than anyone in the Premier League this season.
He knows.
I will not go there, lads.
No?
I will not go there. He will not score again this season.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Heard it all before.
Can we just say?
How's that not gone in from Salah?
I thought you said Andre Ayew there because he went very close also.
Can we just say at this point? Thank goodness for Leeds yesterday, because the quality of the games yesterday was absolutely appalling.
Yeah, you're right.
They were terrible games, and I know that there's a bit of fixture congestion in there, and there's probably some tired legs. But other than Leeds, let's put it this way: I didn't watch Match of the Day last night.
No.
It was dreadful.
Well, Leeds are a delight to watch, aren't they? I have got 3 players in this final game. I had Son and Kane as well, who obviously haven't played, but I didn't have any City or Everton players, so I probably got away with that. So I'll have Souček coming in and Brewster coming in, so that'll be another 5 points.
Still sticking with Brewster, eh?
Well, he's just on my bench. He's bench fodder, isn't he? But I've got Trent and Robertson and Salah in this game. So I'm hoping, I kind of want Trent to go really big and then the other 2 to do all right, because it seems everyone's got Robertson and everyone's captain Salah, and I haven't captained Salah because, as we discussed, Lewis did me over. So I'm in that kind of awkward moment where I want Salah to maybe get a goal, but let's not go too crazy, because otherwise I'll end up flying down the leagues. But Trent, I haven't seen in many teams yet, apart from dead teams. So yeah, Trent and Robertson is rare. He is, but if you accidentally sub out De Bruyne in your sleep for a cheap midfielder, then I had loads of money to play with, so I may as well have both.
I think, I'm the same with Salah. So I've got him, and obviously I need some points from him because I'm 3 players short as it is.
Yeah.
But I haven't captained him, and I'm aware that he'll be, if he's not the most captain, he'll be right up there in terms of captain. So if I'm looking for green arrows, as you experts refer to them as, then I don't know really whether I would want to be cheering him on tonight or not. It's a tricky one.
It's weird, isn't it? It's a weird element of fantasy football when you've got a player that you kind of want to do okay.
Yeah,
it's very true.
That's the way. How did we get on with our fantasy threesome punts, where we all picked a player with under 2% ownership? So who did you have them, Anthony?
Well, you'll be shocked to hear that I had somebody who did nothing. I had Neil Maupay of Brighton.
He had a chance.
He had a chance, didn't score. So I think that's about the 12th week running now. I've had my punts done nothing. A no win for me. But Mike, I think it's a different story for you, mate.
Well, yes, it is. Matty Loughton, an inspired choice, some might say.
Indeed.
4.4 million, guys. I've just wildcarded. More on that later.
You are an idiot.
What's the problem?
The wildcard literally came available like yesterday lunchtime.
Yeah.
The trouble is,
it is.
I mean, games could be called off here, left, right, and centre with COVID.
I know.
So we don't know who's playing, where, and when.
Yeah, that's cool. So I've got my team ready to go, but if night before, an hour before deadline, I know that there are games called off, I can make as many changes as I want right now, and will do.
That's true. That's true.
We've got a cracking team, but more on that later. Cracking team.
Yeah.
Matthew Loughton, who got himself a clean sheet. Thank you. Good day.
Yeah, it's a bit dirty tactics picking a defender, but you do what you need to do. I had Pereira from West Brom. That went well. That. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But our listener who did well this week, who actually chose the person who I'm having for a punt this week. So shall I tell you that later?
No, tell us now. It's fine.
Okay. The listener who did well was FPL Buddy on Twitter. And he went for Rafinha, who is my fantasy threesome punt this week, and so he will get to choose the captain of a team. Either Mike can choose which team, or we can play every second mounts. It's up to you, Mike.
You know exactly what I'm going to say, lads. I've got one lined up. We're going to play every second mounts.
Okay.
So this is like a one game showdown here. So basically, whoever loses is going to have their captain pick them.
Yes, yes, indeed. What are you hitting enter about? Stop hitting enter. Okay, that's quite all right. So what I've got the all-time highest scoring FPL players.
All time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, players from the FPL era. There's one goalkeeper, so it's within the structure of the FPL team. So we've got one goalkeeper. We're playing 3-4-3. There are 11 players in there in one season. Highest scores in defence, in midfield, and in attacks. There are 11 players. How many do you think you can guess?
I'll go for 2.
So these are the highest scorers in FPL history, yeah.
Starting from
not a cumulative. No, from its starting.
Right.
From its start. Okay.
Yeah. So there are 11 players. So it's in one season. It's not a cumulative. Okay. So best haul in a season.
Okay. I've got.
You got 2, have you? I'll go 4.
He's jumped to 4.
He's jumped to 4.
Absolutely needlessly, just jumped to 4. Never had this. Never seen it before. It's
like a game of poker with a bluff.
Wow.
It's ballsy and gutsy, and I'm hoping foolish. It's all yours, Ant.
Okay. So 4 players. I've got them here on my phone. That's all we need then. 4 of the highest scoring players of all time on FPL. Let's go in one season.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard in midfield is a correct answer. There's one.
Oh, that's very good, Anthony.
I played the tension. Drag that out. Right.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
He was one of mine.
Yeah. Is correct.
Sergio Aguero.
Oh. Sergio Aguero.
I'm not sure on that. He's always injured.
He is always injured. I'm afraid he's not one of the highest scoring 3 attackers of all time.
Oh, no.
Fantasy.
What about Salah? Salah, Anthony.
But Aguero had that seat. Well, isn't he like the 4th highest Premier League goal scorer of all time or something, isn't he?
I know, but over a long period of time.
True.
So I'll give you the team just for your reference.
Can we guess the goalkeeper?
Yeah. So in terms of goalies,
Petr Cech.
Nope.
Oh.
Ant, you want to have a guess?
Van der Sar?
No, Brad Friedel.
Oh,
Brad. Was that the season? Was that the season he scored?
It could well be, yeah. Yeah, Brad Friedel. Okay, back 3 then.
John Terry
is one of them. Yes.
Yeah.
Rio Ferdinand?
No, they're actually 2 Liverpool players.
Oh, Trent.
No, not Trent.
Oh. Van Dijk?
Van Dijk, yes.
Wow.
Oh, Jan Molby.
Well, let's go back too far, probably.
What about Ashley Cole?
What, for Liverpool?
Oh, sorry, still on the Liverpool. Okay.
Robertson?
Matip.
Yeah, Robertson. Into midfield, you got Frank Lampard. Phil, you correctly guessed Mo Salah. You also got Ronaldo. We're missing one then in midfield, and it'll. I think you'll struggle with this one.
Oof. Can you give us a club?
Yeah, Arsenal.
Oh, Oh, Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah,
That's very good, Anthony.
you forget that he was
He was
brilliant.
blinding. Yeah,
He was so good for Arsenal, wasn't he? Then it's all gone Pete Tong for him.
yeah.
Then up front, we had no guesses. Made no guesses up front, and so
Drogba, I remember, used to always be a pain.
Of course, yeah, Drogba.
Drogba didn't make the top three. No, not the top three scorers.
Oh wow.
Kane.
Nope.
Rooney.
Oh
No.
yeah. Oh,
I'll tell you.
yeah.
Robin van Persie.
Oh yeah, that was the season he was. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Course.
Oh, in the Suarez and Sturridge season.
And any guesses for the last one?
Callum Wilson.
Oh no, Vavavoom, Thierry Henry.
Yeah, it's easy when you know it, isn't it?
It is. So FPL buddy will be picking your team.
Well, picking your captain. Picking your
captain. Yeah, all right. We'll limit it to captain. Yes.
Well, I mean, he's named himself after Buddy from Elf, who's a lovely person, so I'm sure he's going to be kind to me. I'm guessing he must have done. I mean, it is the greatest Christmas film of all time, apart from Die Hard.
He could be called Buddy.
Yeah, he's because he likes.
Well, maybe his parents named him after the elf.
Indeed, there we go.
I mean, he must be quite young. I saw that in the cinema.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's 2003. That film. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
whatever.
You're allowed to have a Twitter account at 17, 18 years old. That's okay.
Gosh, just a long. Yeah, it makes me feel old. That anyway. So FPL buddy will be picking.
Says the guy who's following Jose Mourinho on Instagram.
I'm not.
Yeah, right, Phil.
I'm not. I saw a tweet that linked me to it. Of course, I'm not.
With the kids.
I do have an Instagram. I do have an Instagram account. It's photos of my spoon, and it's pictures I've taken of the back of my spoon. By all means, follow. I've joined the other 79 people. Live the dream. But enough about advertising.
Such an influencer, Phil.
I am a bit of an influencer. Actually, we should say, please do follow us on Twitter at FPL Threesome Pod.
Yeah. Or as I'm scrolling on our visuals at Fancy Threesome Pod.
Don't do that.
Don't follow them.
No,
whoever they may be.
I mean, that might be something altogether different, as we found out from some of our followers. So you don't want to be doing that. Let's move on to some listener questions, which I have got for you here. Top of our mini league, our FPL Threesome, Fantasy Threesome Pod mini league, he's just overtaken long-time leader Matt Bellotti, is Stefan de Jong, and he has sent in a question regarding these cancellations. Is this round giving people an unfair advantage? He's captained Salah this week against Newcastle, but he's now able to captain Kane or Son against Fulham whenever they play, whereas people who went with Kane won't get the opportunity to captain Salah against Newcastle. Do you hear what I'm saying there?
I follow you. And as someone who had captained Kane this week, I'm very frustrated by it. And yes, people have got an unfair advantage. And if I happen not to win our mini league, that'll be why.
Well, I mean, you're about 200, 300 points below so far. So this
200.
one would game week 200.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the sum of your transfers is probably going to be another reason.
Yeah, about 250 points lost there.
Is it an unfair advantage, or I mean, in this day and age, are we just going to have to deal with this happening?
I think we're going to have to accept this is likely to happen, says the man who played his bench boost this week. But it's just one of those, isn't it? It's frustrating, but we're all in the same boat, aren't we? But
and let's not forget, there is bigger things.
Yeah, I think there's disparities all over the place. You've had games where home fans have been allowed in. You've had games where others haven't. I wouldn't be surprised. I tweeted earlier on. I wouldn't be surprised if, particularly the EFL, finishes on a points per game basis again. That happened last season, and there were a number of teams that missed out when it looked like they were making a climb towards promotion. So if that were to happen, then you get yourself in the driving seat now would be my suggestion to any teams at the top and around the top of the table. I can't see it happening in the Premier League, but you never know.
I don't think it'll happen in Championship either. I think League One and League Two, as unfortunately some teams found out last year when they were very harsh. Was it Tranmere?
Yeah,
who got relegated on points per game, and it was very harsh. But again, there's so much money now in the Championship, isn't there? And with all the riches of getting promoted to the Premier League, I can't even see that being points per game, to be honest.
Where is there more money? This is a question I don't know the answer to, but is there more money? Who wins in the battle if let's say we have to extend the Premier League at the expense of the Euros again?
Or
who
FIFA won't let that happen.
Yeah, FIFA won't. Yeah.
You know, how does that play out?
Well, I think they're just going to be cramming in midweek fixtures constantly. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this thing where we've had situations with teams having 48 hours between games could become the norm. There's going to be injuries all over the shop potentially as well, isn't there?
But there is, but I mean, obviously Christmas, this happens every year, and that's part of what we love in this country. And foreign managers come over here and kick off about it, but it's almost a Christmas tradition. You know, there's loads of games in between Christmas and New Year, and that's great.
Keep it coming.
But you don't hear Championship teams or League One or League Two teams going, "Oh, we've got to play midweek. Oh, we've got to play midweek." I mean, those players aren't getting the same sort of, fitness therapy that the Premier League teams are getting. So I kind of think just get on with it. There's if it's safe to get on with it, get on with it, because it's League One and League Two teams who are running around on pitches that are absolutely horrendous. That takes a lot more out of you than running around on these pristine pitches that they're running around on in the Premier League. So yeah, I think I don't think they'll cancel League One and League Two, because I think clubs will just go under. There's no way they can survive another season being curtailed. I just don't think that'll happen. Have we covered that for now? I'm happy to move on to the next question.
Thanks, Stefan, though, and congratulations on topping our league at the turn of the year.
Yeah, doing really well.
And do send our regards to Nigel. Not the listener, De Jong, to be clear.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not Nigel
from the north.
No. Quick question from Phil, who is right here. Where can you get big bath towels? I bought some bath towels the other day that advertise themselves as bath towels, and they're not as big as the towels we had previously that I was using as a bath towel. And that's frustrating me somewhat. Where can you get big bath towels? If someone could just message us on Twitter at FPL Threesome Pod, where you can get a big bath towel.
That was my other present this Christmas, was a towel.
How big?
Yeah, again, said bath towel, but
yeah.
I think this is the difficulty with this, Phil, is you've been spoiled down the years with the occasional beach towel, which has maybe raised your expectations in terms of size.
No, but I previously had 2 blue big bath towels. They're certainly not beach towels. They're an Egyptian cotton bath towel, and I'm not happy with the size I got in Sainsbury's yesterday, advertised as a big bath towel. So yeah, if someone could let me know where I can get some big bath towels, just a little plea to the listeners, that'd be great. Moving on from bath towels, got a message here from Karen. Leeds have scored.
Carney. Leave her alone, for goodness sake.
I mean, yeah, did you see that? Leeds have put out a lot of things in relation to Gabby Agbonlahor slating them and various other people slating them. Yeah, it just seems that it's people making a mountain out of a molehill. But people shouldn't abuse her online. No. But people would also be probably abusing Agbonlahor when he said that Leeds were terrible and he couldn't wait to finish above them and all this stuff. But
I'm not comfortable with personal abuse, but I'm also not comfortable with saying that because she's a female pundit, she's untouchable, and that
in itself is sexist. Do you know what I mean?
And we have to be so careful that we don't offend, and we're politically correct in what we say. But actually, I don't rate her as a pundit. It was
her first night, wasn't it?
Well, it was maybe with Amazon Prime, but as a co-com, she referred to Ryan Fraser as Ryan Frazier.
Every game,
don't they? Every game last week. And I don't find her particularly interesting. But then I don't find Michael Owen particularly interesting, and I don't find Steve McManaman particularly interesting. Just for 2 males straight away. So it's not.
Robbie Savage.
Well, I find him irritating, so probably another level altogether.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not quite sure where in all this it's suddenly become about female pundits. They have their place. That's all good. But I don't know where in the first place this became about her being a female, and since has opened up this big debate once again about inclusivity. I think inclusivity is really important. It's really, really important. And there are good female pundits and there are bad female pundits, just like there are good male and female commentators and hosts. I think Alex is brilliant at what she does, and Gabby Logan is brilliant. So it's not, it's sad, I guess. Ultimately, it's sad that people have jumped on it as an opportunity to scapegoat women as a whole. I'm not quite sure why that's become the issue in all this. What she said actually, I think held some merit. I mean, I don't rate her, but you know, if I was listing my top 10 pundits or co-coms, she wouldn't be anywhere near it. But actually, what she said was she was referring to a team that put loads of legwork in and do the high press. And you often see a lot of those teams towards the end of the season, and we have with Leeds in the past, see them fall away because they're shattered. And that didn't happen last season because they got a break. Nothing really controversial, is there?
I think some people took it the wrong way, didn't they? I think some people thought that she meant that they were going to bottle it like they did the year before. And some people just looked straight down it as black and white, you know, as how can she say that when, you know, we got promoted by 10 points or whatever it was. But it's just a mountain out of a molehill, isn't it? Let's face it, people haven't got anything else to focus on at the moment, have they? So they're going to...
maybe that's it.
Well, the good news is we've covered it for 5 minutes, so great.
There you go.
So anyway, Karen sent in a question. Probably not that Karen. Leeds have scored 30 goals in the first 16 games this season. If they continue at that rate, they'll score 71 goals this season. Last season, only City and Liverpool scored more than 71 goals. Should we be tripling up on Leeds?
No.
Doubling?
I think Mike would not agree, obviously, but Bamford is now the one you're going to have, isn't he? And you look at Dallas. Dallas, in my defence there, I think 3 of the last 4 game weeks, he scored double figures. And he's still around the 5% ownership. So he's still really low. He's a good differential. He's still cheap.
I think what you saw at the start of the season, if we're looking at budget strikers, everyone jumped on Mitrovic before the season had started. Everyone was all over Mitrovic. And that has proved to be an absolute disaster for anybody that's still, you know, I think you talked about dead teams earlier on. I'm sure a number of them have still got Mitrovic up front. Then very quickly people jumped on board DCL. And now what you're probably seeing is people moving towards Bamford, saving themselves even more money at that end, and freeing up money for elsewhere. The one player that I've bought in, and I'll show you my team, boys, ahead of this weekend. The one player that I've bought.
Let's just say this, Mike. Sorry, this is very professional, isn't it? Because we know you'll probably make at least another 6 transfers before this game.
Yeah, of course. But I'm really happy with this squad. The one player that I've bought in is Harrison. Really, really like him in midfield. It's great delivery. He's scored 3 goals so far this season already. He's on my bench at the moment because they're away to Tottenham. But I've bought him in. But he's the only Leeds asset I've looked at. I looked at. Is it Struijk?
Yeah, I had him earlier in the season. He's 3.9 million. He's currently playing.
He's played the last 2 games. So he might be worth a look at 3.9 if you know. I've at the moment I've put Tyrick Mitchell in at 3.9. But yeah, it's maybe one of those 2 if you're trying to save some money in defence. Do you want me to quickly talk you through my team, lads?
Oh, well, I'll just answer Karen's question. And
sorry, Karen.
And then we can.
Go on, double up, triple up.
Yeah, I would say double up for sure. My daughter and wife brought in Harrison into their team this week, and that worked out all right for them. I would be looking at Rafinha, Harrison, Bamford. The thing is with Leeds, their goals come from all over the place. So, Alioski, I've been looking at for like the last month to get him in. He's been 4.4. He's now 4.5. But I was unsure if he was going to keep starting because he wasn't playing at the start of the season. But I should have just, put the money into, I think 0.3 or 0.4 of a million more to get Dallas, because you've just got an attacking defender. Leeds, you don't buy them for a clean sheet. You get them for attacking returns, and if they keep a clean sheet as a bonus. But I would certainly look at 2. I wouldn't apart from Liverpool, who I've got 3 of at the moment, I wouldn't get 3 of any club. With the cancellations that could be happening moving forward, I don't want to be lumbered with 3 players not playing, potentially. So I wouldn't do that.
We've never had to play FPL in the way that we are seemingly now going to be playing it. I guess we talked about it actually on the Christmas pod. We talked about the need for a strong bench, that players would be rested between Christmas and New Year, and it remains to be seen how much that's going to happen because of COVID. But that's the closest we've ever been to this. We just don't know from one week to the next who's going to be playing. So yeah,
well, this is it.
Important. And have you got any Leeds assets before I stroll through my team?
Yeah, I was just saying. So I've had Dallas virtually in since the start, and he's doing really nicely for me at the moment. So he got 12 points last weekend. I think he's a must. He gets forward quite a lot, doesn't he? He scored a couple of goals recently. And Bamford, again, I'm very late to the Bamford show. I have been of the opinion.
Welcome.
Indeed, I'm with Mike. Really, I don't know where this season's come from with him, and I never would have.
They won 5-0. You said he didn't score any.
Yeah, true, but he is kind of the one.
2 assists, though. Still ended up with 8 points.
Yeah, he's a very steady point scorer, isn't he? And it's a bit like the last 2 weeks I've brought in 2 players who I just kind of felt I had to have, and that's Fernandes and Bamford, because when I didn't have them, I mean, the week I didn't have Fernandes against Leeds, I dropped 200,000 places overnight. So, I had to get him and Bamford in. So those would be the 2 for me for Leeds, Dallas and Bamford.
Okay, that'll be good. Great. Thank you, Karen, for your question. And whatever you do in life, Karen, whatever vocation you choose to follow, you have my backing and support. Let's.
Do you want to run through your team before the next question?
If you don't mind, just indulge me, because I'm guessing neither of you have played your wild card yet. So this is
correct. I mean, because it would be madness considering what we're entering into.
It's nearly as bad as playing it week 2.
Got this team here for the season, pretty much, lads. So.
Do you remember like in game week 2 where you had written out like a 14-week plan of every transfer you were going to make, and then by the game week 14 you'd made over 200 transfers?
Love that.
Yeah, it's all valid. So Nick Pope in goal. I'm going 2 keepers.
You've gone Pope.
I'm going 2 goalkeepers because I know we've got a game week coming up where only a handful of teams are playing, and I wanted to have cover in goal. But also with COVID in mind, I think that strong bench needs to include a sub keeper now. So if you're going to pick up some points, you might as well pick them up with 4.5 mil players rather than having to splash out, fill your bench with full on strikers. So or midfielders. So Pope with Leno on the bench. Back 3 of James Justin, who has been in my team throughout. Matty Loughton off of last week's punt fame. Rob Holding at 4.4 million. I know Arsenal have been ropey just a bit, but they are looking like they're tightening up a bit. And for an Arsenal asset, 4.4 million, he's playing every week.
But it's an Arsenal asset of this season, not an Arsenal asset of seasons gone by.
Yeah, very true.
You're right, but I think that they are starting to, steady the ship a little bit. On my bench in terms of defence, I've got Tyrick Mitchell, I mentioned earlier on, at 3.9, and I've retained Kyle Walker-Peters. He's my only Southampton asset now. I've just transferred out Benrek after a 9-pointer and a 7-pointer for me. Into midfield then. I've kept Son because I like their upcoming fixtures if they get to play them. Bruno, Zaha. Again, I like the look of his fixtures over the coming weeks. And I've got Sigurdsson there with enough money in the bank to swap him out for James Rodriguez when he returns from injury. But yeah, I'm keeping Sigurdsson in there. 6.8 mil, I think, Sigurdsson. So in the absence of James, that's not a bad shout, I don't think.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him when Rodriguez comes back, would you? You wouldn't want him.
No, so I'll be transferring him out.
He's low, he's still under 2% ownership, isn't he? I think Sigurdsson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So good
differential. My favourite word.
Yeah. No, I like him. And also, I've got the opportunity, if I want to later on in the season, to swap out Zaha for Grealish. That was the dilemma in that kind of 7.5 mil category. Did I go Zaha? Did I go Grealish? And I really don't like Grealish. So Well, I don't really like Zaha either, to be honest, but I think I prefer Zaha, so I've gone for him. And then Harrison, as I mentioned, is on my bench this week, but we'll get game time. And then my front three is it feels pretty strong: Vardy, Kane, Calvert-Lewin. So as a squad, I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty well rounded. There are players there that I would expect to play every week, COVID permitting.
Interesting, you haven't got any Liverpool players.
No, so that's the
City
the one.
actually.
Yeah, well, yeah,
City aren't great.
City aren't great, and we've talked about that. And I brought De Bruyne out a few weeks back. To give my squad any level of depth, I had to drop Salah. Like I had to make room for genuine depth. I can't justify spending that amount of money on him, unless you look at his points haul, I guess, which is consistently brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the toss up. I just have to hope that lots of Liverpool games get cancelled.
Well, that's the spirit. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very happy New Year.
Both. It's too early, Phil. Too early. So yeah, there we go. There's my team, boys. I think quite a well-rounded side. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd be worried going into game weeks without Salah. Every time he scores, you're going to shoot down the rankings, shoot down the leagues.
Well,
but you know what? It's good to be different, and it's your game.
And I sort of need to be different given how far behind I am everybody else. So, I mean, yeah,
you're already at the stage where you have to, make some risks, aren't you, to try and play catch up? Because I mean, I've caught Anthony up in the past sort of 6-7 weeks that he was about 80 points ahead of me, but to reel in to 250 points, something like that, is going to be tricky.
Yeah, you were over 100 points behind me after when we came back from lockdown originally back in, was it July, was it, when we started again?
Last season, yeah.
I was chocolately cruising, played my wild card for some unknown reason, still don't know why I did that, and I changed my team. It was quite a good one for an absolutely terrible one, and I went from first to fourth. So it's a long way to go, but 250 points is quite a lot to make up, especially when you're making 4 or 5 transfers a week.
I'm just going to have to hope Salah goes on a really, really horrendous run, and somehow I climb up the table. We'll see.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Last question is from Dylan from Dumbarton. Try and say that fast.
Oh, what a lovely alliteration!
And he said, "What should our strategy be on chips? Use them for game week 18 or 19, or due to fear of cancellations, do we hold them and wait for things to look brighter?" Game weeks 18, 19, for those who don't know, it's game week 17 coming up on New Year's Day. Game week 18, there are only 10 teams playing. And game week 19, there are multiple teams who have 2 fixtures in that game week, which is a real chance to get some big scores in. Maybe use your triple captain or your bench boost if you've got enough players with double game weeks and game week 19. But yeah, what are you doing, Mike? Do you have any chips left?
Of course not. And it is a moment like this, to quote Leona Lewis, where I strongly regret not keeping my free hit.
Right. Yeah. And Anthony, what about you? Because you did similar, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, again, a man who's just played his bench boost on a week where there's loads of games called off. Not great. I mean, you're looking, aren't you, surely, for a big hitter who's playing 2 games in game week 19, aren't you, for a triple captain?
Possibly, yeah.
The one fear there is rotation, isn't it? Or if, the trouble is you get a game called off like the Man City game. What was it, 3 hours before kickoff? Or even today, wasn't it? It was similar.
Yeah, 3 hours today, yeah.
It's not like any pre-warning of it. It's 3-4 hours before kickoff. It's just madness. So it's very difficult at the moment. But yeah, I would certainly be holding them for the time being and wouldn't be playing them any earlier than game week 19. Certainly not.
Okay, well, I'm in a situation where I haven't blown all my chips.
Have you used it?
I've got my free hit, my bench boost, and my triple captain still to use. I was pre-COVID. Not pre-COVID, but pre this outbreak where it's all gone to pot because they won't put us in lockdown. Pre this, my plan was to free hit on game week 18, and I've slowly been adding players who have got two game weeks and two fixtures in game week 19. Which I thought was a good plan. I'm nervous about using my free hit now in game week 18 because, there could be loads of cancellations anyway. The downside to that is if I don't use my free hit in game week 18, I have 2 players that are actually playing.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar situation. I haven't actually gone that far ahead in terms of the pre-planning, but I would imagine I'm going to be in a very similar situation.
I only realised tonight it was that because I've been planning on free hitting, so I simply didn't care. I may have to free hit anyway, but I simply didn't care about who I had in my squad for that game week. But I will only have 2 players, and one of those is injured currently.
What a great opportunity to make up some ground, though, on those around you if you have got a free hit to play that game week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, I
lucky
try not to. Well, you both played a free hit because you wanted a boost, which in hindsight wasn't great.
But I would argue I used my free hit pretty nicely, mate, because my team, I think that we got my second or third highest score of the season, 70 odd points. True. 70s, and it was far better off than the team I would have had without it, which is the whole idea of it, surely. So I've got no play my free hit whatsoever.
I'm absolutely loaded with regrets.
You're loaded with regrets.
I am. I feel like I need to make a New Year's resolution here, lads.
No,
it's not time.
It's not going to be. I'm not going to make transfers because we all know you'll never stick to it.
Do you think I should try it though? Do you think 2021? I should say that I'll limit myself to spending just 4 points per week on transfers.
Well, you can try.
Do you think we should try that? Do you think that should be the new thing? That could be my new challenge.
Give it a go.
A limitation on me, like here and now, boys. It feels a little bit like the diet plan I do every year, but here and now, I'm accountable to you. I will swear on the hair dye. Swear on the hair dye here that
it does look the same colour as you.
I look nothing like her though. Swear on the hair dye that actually this is the this is funny for the rest of the season. I will not make more than 2 transfers a week. And we'll just see. It's like a little social experiment. I mean, what's done is done. I'm so far behind everybody anyway.
You are in many ways a social experiment.
Yeah, let's see if a change in tactics makes a difference.
You can't make it much worse, mate. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
If you had your chips, Mike, would you be playing them game week 18 and maybe 19 as well, or would you, bearing in mind all the current cancellations and what I don't understand is Fulham had an outbreak today, so assume that they won't be playing in game week 17 next. Man City called off their game, and today their training grounds open again. I mean, what, 2 days later is it? 2, maybe 3 days later, which is convenient, really. I don't quite understand what happened there. But would you be playing them if you had them, Mike, or would you wait? Because I think there is another double game week in game week 26.
I'll tell you what I'd do. If I had them, I would free hit on game week 18, is it? To 19?
Yeah.
And then the week after, I would look at the league table and look at who have got games in hand. So at the moment, you've got teams such as Leicester and Liverpool and Southampton, West Ham. They've all played 16. Villa have only played 14 games. So I would then be looking at using, after my free hit that game week, I'd be then looking at using my wild card and bringing in teams with 2, maybe by that stage, 3 games in hand on the others, and having them in my squad. Yeah, having them in my squad for the remainder of the season.
Well, I mean,
that's just looking, but it's too late. It's too late.
I mean, just looking ahead to that game week 19, I mean, you look at it, you got all the big hitters, haven't they? They all got 2 games. Liverpool, I think Man United have got 2 games. Leicester, Chelsea, Man City, they've all got 2 games that game week. I mean, that is huge.
What a week not to have Salah in your team.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I would say is that is Liverpool, Man United. But then the last game of that game week is Liverpool at home to Burnley. It depends if Liverpool score early in that game, because if they don't, then Burnley, as we know, will just stick 10 men on the goal line.
This is true.
Interesting time.
Shall we start previewing game week 17 then? Time is ticking. So, Ant, do you want to run through the fixtures?
Yeah, just 2 seconds. Here we go. I've got them up here. I mean, a lot of these are obviously COVID dependent, aren't they? This is the trouble.
Well, this is it. I mean, if they allow City to play, because the 2 outbreaks have been at City and at Fulham, haven't they?
Yeah. So both of those could be in danger, but let's just go through them. So we start New Year's Day, 5:30, Everton, West Ham. Everton will be itching to get going, won't they? They had a flying start, sticky little patch, and they seem to be over that now. 4 straight wins. I think they would have been far more gutted about that fixture being called off the Man City, obviously. I fancy them to win this, and I'm really hoping we get DCL back in some goal scoring form as well. So I'd predict a 2-0 home win. I'm going for there. Phil, what's your view on that one?
Well, yeah, I'm wondering about DCL. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, I got rid of him because he's getting points, but for not doing much. He's not anything like the form he was at the start of the season. And so I can cope if he scores a goal or gets an assist. I'm fine with that. Hopefully he won't, go on now to bite me this weekend. But I'm not too fussed about Calvert-Lewin. But he is owned still by 57.5% of all teams. That's a lot of teams.
So if he had 2 or 3 game weeks where he's only scored 2 points or less.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah,
he is a point getter.
Well, I've got Souček on my bench, so I'm hoping. Well, he will now be in my starting 11 because Charlie Taylor's injured. So I would want Souček to do well.
They're one of the few teams, Everton, that I wouldn't fancy Souček against. Here we go. There's your soundbite. But I wouldn't fancy it. If you look at how commanding they are in the air, Everton, you've got Michael Keane, you've got Yerry Mina, both who are great headers of the ball. So I'm not sure what Souček offers up against those two. Yeah.
Like you say, there's the soundbite.
Yeah.
There's people.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next fixture, Ant? Because there's another one on that.
Yeah, there is indeed. Yeah, Old Trafford, Manchester United against Villa. Villa really impressed with them this season. Fair play to Dean Smith there. I mean, he's done an incredible job. And we just don't know which Man United are going to turn up. The one thing I would say about Man United at the moment is that even when they play poorly, they're winning games as they did against Wolves. So, which is a sign of a good team. So. It's one of those games for me. I could actually see any result in this one. I wouldn't be massively surprised if Villa went there and won, but I also wouldn't be that surprised if Man United ran out convincing winners. But game, maybe Fernandes is captain, boys, in that one.
Yeah, possibly. Villa is Mings back?
One game suspension, 2 yellow cards, isn't it? So it would be one game.
Yeah. I wouldn't Fernandes captain on that personally.
No. Okay. Mike, what's your view on that?
Yeah, well, I quite like Villa defensively. So, again, I probably wouldn't go Bruno captain home to them. And actually, Villa have picked out some really good results against the so-called bigger teams. So, you're right, I think, to say that this could go either way.
I haven't
just beginning to gather a bit of momentum, aren't they? Up to second place in the table. Yeah, I don't know. Really difficult one to call.
I have... not really rated I think Watkins is a good player, but not a good fantasy asset. But I think, like you say, against these bigger teams, he's handy to have, and I think he could do something. I haven't got him, but I think Watkins could be good against United this week.
Has Grealish just gone a bit quiet? Is he starting to go off the boil?
Just a little bit.
I mean, McGinn's been pushing on, hasn't he? Everyone's kind of waiting for Barkley to come back because then Grealish gets marked out of games. I mean, he's still playing well. He's just not getting fantasy points. But when Barkley comes back, as we saw when Barkley was there early in the season, I would expect that Grealish will be freed up a bit because the defence can worry about Barkley as well as Grealish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, moving on then, boys. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next Saturday lunchtime, 12:30 kickoff. Spurs at home to Leeds. Now, Spurs are just having this little wobble, aren't they? So Mike predicts them to win the league. I don't know if you still think that, Mike.
I think they will be if they don't win it. I think if you finish above Spurs, you win the league.
Okay, that's a big call. I mean, I don't know if you heard it, but I did have to laugh how fickle some fans are.
Yeah, that does mean they'll come second. I was thinking for a second that would apply to anybody. Well, actually, that would actually. I guess if City win the league, they'll finish above Spurs, and if Liverpool finish above Spurs, but they won't win the league. Yeah, it's not a vice versa. Basically, I think they'll be top 2.
Okay. I think it's a big call. Spurs are coming a bit of criticism recently, aren't they? I mean, the draw against Wolves the other night, they basically scored in the first minute and then sat in, didn't they? And tried to defend it for the entire game, which is very Jose Mourinho. And then I heard some callers on TalkSport, some Spurs fans saying it's not working, they want rid of him, and I know that's normal. But already just a couple of sticky results for them, and suddenly Jose, who was the main man just a few games ago, he's now getting some quite strong criticism.
They've had some tricky fixtures.
They have, but Leeds are flying, aren't they? And you mentioned it, Phil, about the goals they're piling in with at the moment. So
there's no team I mean, I'm a Bournemouth fan and I've been brought up to hate them. But there is no team I would prefer to watch in the Premier League right now than Leeds. Every game, you're guaranteed goals, you're guaranteed good football, you're guaranteed Patrick Bamford's smile, and honestly, I'd love watching Leeds at the moment, and they're softening on me.
But they've got that result in them, haven't they? Like the game against Man United when they lost 6-2, they are very open, aren't they, as well? So. I'll put it this way: I can't see this one being 0-0, and you can use that as your next soundbite as well. I cannot see it being 0-0.
No, well, I think you're probably right. And I think again, Leeds are one of those teams that have gone and scored goals away from home against the big six. So, it's a tough one to call.
That's why with Leeds players, I don't care who they're playing against. They could play Liverpool. I would still not think, I'll bench them because they're playing Liverpool. I'd still want them in because you just don't know with Leeds. It's not like having a Palace defender who you think, they've got a tough game. We'll drag them and put them on the bench. With Leeds, it doesn't matter who they play. A bit like Villa, actually. They're capable. And Leeds and Villa, I would expect to comfortably finish in the top half at the end of the season.
Yeah, they look like it, don't they?
Yeah, I think worth pointing out that Tottenham will be very well rested. So
yes, indeed. We move on, boys.
I'm a bit cross, just quickly before we do. I'm a bit cross that New Year's Day we have to wait till 5:30 for a game.
But then we get two. Then we get two games as well.
Why not stick one on at lunchtime?
Yeah,
or one mid-afternoon.
And why stick games on at 5:30 when I've got young children to put to bed
or dinner to eat?
Yeah.
Right, boys.
Game tonight.
There are 7 fixtures remaining. Let's pick our player, our player of the game to have in terms of an asset for each of those. Starting with Crystal Palace, Sheffield United. Anthony.
Wilfried Zaha. Fairly obvious, but I'm thinking about bringing him in. Or as a differential, Andros Townsend. Got the assist, I think, didn't he, against Leicester? Palace were awful in that, by the way. Just one of those things that are dreadful. And that will be a dreadful game, but I would expect Palace to win by the odd goal.
David McGoldrick.
Just quickly, every week it goes past, it does genuinely look like Sheffield United are going to rival Derby for that Premier League record of low points, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I keep thinking they're going to turn the corner.
I do. I keep thinking that they're not that bad. But I mentioned it, I think, last week's pod. They're the first team to ever get to Boxing Day in the Premier League, having not won a game. So there you go. It's not looking great for them, is it?
They're 11 points. They're 11 points off Brighton. It's 4 wins in the next 22 games.
Yeah. Okay, boys. Who's our pick-out player then from Brighton Wolves?
Oh, tricky. I'm going to go for Neto.
Yeah, that's who I was going to go for.
Good value. 5.9 million.
He very quietly goes about his business, isn't he? He's someone you would never expect to be in there, but he's one of the form players actually at the moment. And if any points are coming from Wolves assets, it's from him.
Yeah.
Brighton, for me, are dreadful. They're a boring team to watch. They created absolutely nothing against Arsenal the other day. He never looked like scoring. Mopé, on his day.
I'd go
Rui
Patricio for Wolves. Brighton look toothless.
Yeah, they do look toothless. Yeah, I'd go along with that. West Brom. Next, who do we think from that? West Brom, who've conceded 8 goals in their last 2 home games.
We all got fooled. We all got fooled by the result against Liverpool, didn't we?
Well, and Man City, their last 2 away games have gone to Anfield and to the Etihad and got 2 points, and yet they're in between home games. They've got smashed.
Sam Allardyce, after the Liverpool game, he was saying, I just had to set him up in let them know the jobs to do, and they did it. And taking all the credit for that Liverpool draw, and then lose 5-0 to Leeds. It's all about investment. We need to spend in January.
Yeah.
The squad is useless. Yeah. He pretty much called out their whole squad and said they are terrible.
I'm going to call out a player from this one, Lacazette. There you go, boys.
Oh well, that comes as no great surprise to the regular listeners. Could this be given that they've got West Brom away, followed up closely by home to Crystal Palace? Could this be the return of Aubameyang?
No,
not
for me. Far too much money.
I looked at trying to accommodate him when I did my wild card with those two fixtures in mind, and it just was too much money.
I would also suggest it's not time for Saka either. Saka is a classic fantasy football trap.
Yeah.
A couple of games he'll do well, and then you remember he plays for Arsenal.
He's cheap though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 5.4 or something.
And they've also got in terms of cheap assets to rival Curtis Jones. They've got Emil. I think it's Emil Rose-Smith.
Yeah,
4.3 million started the last 2 games.
I saw you put him in your team, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. He got me 3 points.
The thing is with those sort of decisions is that inevitably they end up costing you 4 points to get him in, and they'll end up just getting dropped from the team quite quickly. Usually, when you get these players that have a couple of games, and you think, oh yeah, they're cheap, you get them in, and then you don't know if they're going to start. Surely, this day and age, you want players that you can be confident that they're going to start.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well made. I should apologise. It's Emil Smith Rowe. A touch of the Justin James about his name. Interestingly, though, who with ideas above their station, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or indeed Mr. and Mrs. Rowe, thought, you know what, we'll call our son Emil.
Well,
maybe Emil Heskey.
That's probably it.
Maybe. By the way, Salah's just missed. I know I'm slightly behind, but Salah has just missed an unbelievable chance for Liverpool in this game. He has. 99 times out of 100 he blows that, doesn't he? Anyway, moving on.
Keep a clean sheet, Liverpool. That would be the perfect result.
Oh, please. Yeah, I think they will. Newcastle don't like scoring. So Burnley Fulham, probably not going to happen, I would suggest. So do we want to skip that one?
Well, if it does happen, I would suggest Nick Pope.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, we'll go with that. Newcastle Leicester. 2 words for me. Jamie Vardy. Rested, didn't he, the other day?
Fresh.
Yeah, Newcastle hit miss.
He actually didn't exactly cover himself in glory when he came in, did he?
No, I didn't see large parts of that second half, but he's just a goal getter, isn't he? Still, you still fancy him to be given a chance there, and Newcastle will present you with opportunities against them. So, yeah,
I would go Callum Wilson.
Okay. I mean, Newcastle without Callum Wilson have really got nothing, have they?
No, but he's been dangerous in this game.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Chelsea Man City, another one unfortunately unlikely to happen, but that is a good game if it does happen. The man for me, Olivier Giroud, again comes in.
They're rotating up front. That's the problem. You've got
every time they play him, he scores, doesn't he?
Yeah, every time they play him, he scores. Yes, but will he play? And I think that's the question. You know, he brought in Tammy up front the other day for a bit more movement, and then ended up resorting to bringing Giroud off the bench. You've got Werner there, who is now getting dropped. You've got Havertz there, who isn't getting the game time that he came in and expected to get. So there's quite a bit of rotation going up there with Chelsea. So yeah, tough one to call that in terms of an investment. How much is Giroud? Is he a lot of money?
No, you don't think he is actually. I don't actually have that to hand. I can find it for you, but yeah, I don't think he's an awful lot of money.
Okay. Well, while you're looking, let's have a look at Southampton, Liverpool.
But he's sorry to have an input on this game.
Please do.
He's another one of those players that because you don't know he's going to start, he could be very much a waste of money.
That is true, Phil.
You know, you don't want to be looking at lineups and going, "Oh gosh, it's a Tammy week." You know, it's and also, I mean, if City are back training today, I assume that they're going to be playing.
6.7 is Giroud, by the way.
That's really cheap.
Is
really
it
cheap.
better? Is that better value than Wilson or Bamford?
You know Wilson's going to start every game. He's going to start every single game without fail.
As does Bamford, yeah. So probably not in that case. But I mean, this is a big game for Chelsea because Lampard, they've lost, was it last 2 or 3 away games? There's a few question marks being placed around his head with, they spent over 200 million, I think it is now. And there's a few kind of little grumbles about Lampard I've heard as well, just from a few Chelsea fans.
It's the way of the Premier League and indeed football as a whole now. You can't go 3 games without a win without a section of your fans starting to call your head.
Correct.
Yep, that is very, very true.
Let's move on then to the last game on Monday night. I mean, it's so confusing, the days. People have told me what day. I've asked so many times, what day is it today? But on Monday, whenever that happens, after Sunday, I assume, we've got Southampton at home to Liverpool at 8:00. Salah captaincy, possibly. I mean, Liverpool, just watching this game, they look toothless. I thought we might get a reaction here. There's 20 minutes to go as I'm watching, and it's still 0-0.
I've got him this week, obviously, but I'll take him not doing anything. Happily. I've come full circle. I started off saying I need some points from Salah. Actually, you know what? I don't know, break a leg or something. I don't know.
Not break a leg. Why so intense? Just say,
all right,
I hope he doesn't score.
Catch tonsillitis?
No, just... Oh, yeah, because you don't want him in the team moving forward.
Why would you not want Salah to get points in this one for you?
Because he's captained by everyone and he's not by us.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, talking of
listen
toothless...
Listen back to the first 10 minutes of the pod, and you'll pick up where we're coming from.
For me, this one, going back to the original question about the game. Southampton are toothless at the moment, aren't they? I think they've not scored for 3 or 4 games now.
Crucially, they're doing well at the back.
They are doing well at the back. So we're looking at defensive assets in this game, aren't we?
Well, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I've got 2 Southampton defensive assets, and I'm not looking forward to it. That's for sure. Because Liverpool have to react at one point.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Ings come back, because there's no way I thought he was going to be playing the other day, and he did. And he had a goal disallowed, which was really well taken. But yeah, it was interesting to see that he was back. Did anyone see Che Adams gets absolutely belted in the head?
Yeah. I'm sorry to miss that.
It was horrendous. He was defending a corner, and who was the centre back? The West Ham centre back, who he swung for the ball and missed him, and just full on volleyed Che Adams in the head. It was horrible.
Can I play the game? I mean, is it Ogbonna?
Oh no, it wasn't a game. It wasn't Ogbonna. It was the guy. The guy was at West Brom, I think. Last Dawson. I think it was Dawson.
Yes.
Dawson?
No. Dawson is in
Dawson. As in formerly West Brom and Watford.
Yeah. He's played about 2 games. Yeah, he's played about 2 games for him.
He must be about 50 years old.
Does the job though, doesn't he?
He's nearly as old as me. Good grief. A threat from set pieces, as I recall.
Yeah, he is.
Him and Souček. I mean, you just don't want to concede corners against West Ham.
Oh, actually, doubling up. Now I'm thinking that actually at Everton, one of those might have an opportunity.
Everton?
Yeah. West Ham against Everton, I was saying that Mina and Keane might be able to keep Souček in check, but if you'll excuse the pun, I do believe it's his name. His name's Souček.
Save your pun till the end, mate.
Oh gosh, I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, maybe the pair of them. Maybe there's a chance. Chance from a set piece. We'll see.
So who are you going for your captain this week then?
That's a really good shout. Let me have a quick look. For my captain at the moment, I've gone Captain Kane, home to Leeds.
Okay.
And?
Well, I don't get any say in this matter, do I, boys? Thanks to my...
Given the chance, though.
Given the chance, it was going to be Fernandez. So Mr. Elf, please.
FPL buddy.
FPL buddy, of course. If you're feeling kind. But looking at my team, other than Fernandez, not sure who I would have gone for really. But yeah, as I said, I don't have any power in that, so we should wait and see. Phil, what about you?
I think I'll be going Son, and then Fernandez as vice.
Okay.
There's some lovely echo coming through from you, Phil. I'm not quite sure, and me. So, Ant, I don't know whether you've got your microphone close to your face.
I still have. Yeah, still here, boys. Still here. Nothing's changed.
We get to hear us twice, which is just there's no bad thing. So, in terms of punts, then this week, lads.
Yeah. I'm going. I called it earlier. I'm going Rafinha, only owned by less than 2% of all teams, and he looks incredibly dangerous.
Okay, and
Andros Townsend, Palace at home to Sheffield United. 1.5%.
I'm not even sure he'll start, and that's a terrible decision.
No, it's not. He will. It's fine.
I'm gonna go Rob Holding. I talked to him up earlier on. He's only owned by 1.8% of players. In the Arsenal team going to West Brom, who have just shipped 5 and who presumably will be looking to shore themselves up at the back first and foremost. I don't anticipate them being too much of an attacking threat. So Rob Holding.
Okay, and this is the last podcast this year, our first year of doing the podcast. So any highlights for you boys? Maybe podcast or non-podcast. It's been a weird year.
Well, in terms of podcast, I would say it was great to have listeners in for our Christmas special. To put faces to names was great, and a quick shout out to Matt Pocket, who private messaged me just this evening to wish us all a happy new year and to let us know that he got engaged over Christmas.
He did.
It's a beautiful thing, and I have it on good authority that if it's a girl, he will be calling her Polly. So it's they're not having a child. They're not having a child. What have I done? I'm confused there.
It's a revelation.
Desperate
Surprise, Matt.
To emerge. I mean, inevitably, children will follow, I'm sure. And if they don't, that's fine also. If they do, oh, what a horrible mess. I'm so sorry, Matt. Congratulations. Perhaps his wife is called Polly. Wife to be.
I mean, this hole you're digging, Michael, is getting bigger by the second. I'd probably stop talking.
I'll shush now. But actually, but that was great. It was really great having those guys on and sharing the experience with them for a bit. And just having a focus. And, we touch on this from time to time in terms of mental health. I know particularly for myself and Phil, like having a focus. This has proved a real focus. So even if no one listens, and it's just the three of us, and that's what it feels like a lot of the time.
And I can assure you, no one listens.
If it's just the three of us just talking nonsense over Zoom for an hour or so about something that we enjoy, then like that in itself has been great. So I'm very grateful to Phil for all the hard work he does in terms of putting this all together and making sure that we do this week by week. So lots of positives in terms of the pod. Actually, it's probably been the highlight. It's only been the main focus really I've had this year. And
agreed. No, the pod's been good for all of us, I think, hasn't it? And I say just nice to catch up, boys. Unfortunately, we can't physically see each other, so nice to speak to you boys every week and have something to focus on and to plan. And as I say, Matt does prove that there are some listeners out there, and there may not be many, but the ones that are have been really good. So we have to mention as well, Stadium of Sports, Jay as well, who joined us for the Christmas. Who really seems to know his stuff. He's having some sound advice. So anyone not following him on Twitter, I recommend you do that. He comes up with some sound advice. I mean, it's been a pretty shocking year, isn't it, for everybody? But this has been a little ray of sunlight for us.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Phil, I'll come to you in a second, but let's just mention, in terms of listeners, let's just mention the top 10 in our league, because we don't do this very often. But well done if you've made it into the top 10. So Jack Stokes, to Ekamini Ido, to Ben Boyle, to Aaron Hughes, Alex Hopkins, FPL Vince McMahon, Peter Annandale, Steve Phillips, Matt Bellotti, and Stefan de Jong. You are our top 10. So congratulations to you. All will change, of course, no doubt, and you'll see me at the top of that in due course. But for the time being, well done to you all. Phil, what about you? Highlights?
Well, of the year, obviously, it's been a weird one. Very fortunate to still have jobs. In fact, all three of us are very fortunate in that aspect. And during lockdown 1.0, we had to homeschool, which was chaos. 3 children all got set sort of 6 hours a day of work, and there are only 2 of us, and we're both working at home at the same time. But actually spending that time with the girls is something that I'd never normally get the chance to do ever in life. So although stressful, it was nice. And looking back on it, I'm sure I'll fondly cherish those moments. But and obviously doing the podcast has been fun. And meeting and interacting with listeners is good on Twitter. Largely, they're a nice bunch, so that's a good thing. In fantasy football, obviously Mickey Race picking my hat-trick captain, that was good. Captaincy picks has really been my highlight in fantasy football. I'm usually terrible at them, but managed to get quite a few good ones this year. Even Carl Walker-Peters, which was picked as some sort of brutal attack by a vicar, he still got a clean sheet. So yeah, captaincy picks have been good and proved vital, because the rest of my team a lot of the time has not been doing much. So I suppose it brings us to the end of the year. Emotional times, and hopefully a better 2021 to come. The vaccine in the UK, at least there's another vaccine been approved today, so hopefully with that people can get better, or not get ill in the first place. That's the whole idea of the vaccine, I suppose. But hopefully with that a bit of normality, and hopefully normality won't hopefully that'll show slightly differently, and people have a lot more respect for nurses and teachers and stuff who have had to work with large amounts of people, often ill, obviously in nurses' case. So hopefully people have a bit more respect for them, and as a society we'll be more community based. But it's not really that exciting fantasy football talk, but that is my hope for the year. And fantasy football wise, let's just get some football in. Let's just get some football in. That would be good. Try and keep the football season going, hopefully safely. Let's get some football played, because I think there's an argument to, and I'm not suggesting it, but there is an argument to vaccinate the, I don't know, what is there, 1,800 members of staff and players of the Premier League, vaccinate them all to so football can keep going. Because for so many, I mean, I'm not suggesting that, please do vaccinate nurses and people in the front line first, and old people. But there's an argument for it, because it's so important to so many people's mental health, just to have something to focus on. Take away football, as you did in the first lockdown, and take away so many other things. It's hard for people, so it's good to have a focus.
It's strange. I didn't miss football when we didn't have it. So first when lockdown first came and football was paused, I didn't miss it at all, which really surprised me. And it touches on what you were talking about, Phil, in terms of spending time with loved ones. But now I've got it back, it punctuates my week in the way that it used to, and I feel like I'd be lost without it. I probably wouldn't be, but odd feeling.
Mike, obviously seeing us into a new year, I imagine you've worked hard on your pun to end the podcast with, to make sure it's a good in, and see the year out on a high for those who have had a rough year.
No pressure.
So before you do, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I can see from your face, Mike, you're frantically trying to find a pun. But thank you all for listening. Thanks for getting involved. Like we say, please do follow us on Twitter, FPL Threesome Pod. Do subscribe. Follow us on your podcast platform, whichever you choose. We're really grateful to see that when we upload this, some people automatically get it downloaded to their phone. So thank you to you. It's not about listener numbers for us, but if you do enjoy it, do share the pod, because it helps us to know that you enjoy it. But like I said, we'd do it anyway, even if there's no listeners. Now, Mike, your face is slightly less scrunched up than it was a moment ago. Have you got a pun to finish with, sir? Anthony, how are you?
Anyway. Oh my god. Oh, there's a goal. Oh, the offside factor.
Oh, you're behind me. Anthony. What's happened?
I'm watching it through my Prime app on my smart TV, so I don't know why I'm behind.
It's not that smart if it can't compete with a little village like Alderholt.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. No, I am behind the times.
Well, this isn't good listening, so I'm going to force Mike into a pun. Anthony, goodbye to you, sir. Happy New Year.
Goodbye to you. Happy New Year, my friend.
And Michael, Happy New Year to you. Let's sign us off.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And to quote a line from Mary Chriswood, wishing you all a very happy New Year.
It'll do. Goodbye, everyone. Happy New Year.
Bye. Have a good one.
There we go.